I don't think it's prudent use of taxpayers' money at this point.
It's 5 o'clock. You want to go ahead and start?
Yes, ma'am.
Do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Dear Lord, please rest on our shoulders wise decisions through this budget process. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
I don't think I got an agenda. Oh, thank you. So Dawn, you're up first on the agenda.
Sure.
I really want Mr. Bierbauer to be here, so talk slow.
You want me to talk really slow?
Really slow.
Like Zig Ziglar used to say, talk 30 miles an hour with gust up to 70.
That's going to be
I'll
hard
take-
for you because you
Oh,
talk
70
fast.
with gust down to 30. I'll do my
I don't
best.
think you can talk slow at all.
My office is 95 seconds away. I'll start there. I walked, I timed it for the first time
Do you
ever
agree,
today to see how long it'd take me. See, I'm off 70 a little, but that's okay, isn't it? He was right behind me. He was a little slower.
Right. We have proof.
Proof it happened.
Well, appreciate being here. It's a blessing to get to serve you. And the goal for us is simply to give you your accurate options and tell the truth and answer any questions. The old saying, the only bad question is the one you want asked and done. So that's the spirit of our discussion here today. One request we had was what goes on with ACA and penalties, and we've got some handouts, but I'll be brief about it. Basically, if you did not follow the ACA rules when you have a group health plan over 50 people, your penalties can be anywhere from $2,900 a person to $4,350 a person. And Jeremy had put together some of these notes and things like that, but we have it all in writing. And with a group your size, as long as what you're doing now is so rich of a plan, you have to have minimum value, minimum participation, and you're doing both easily. Typically, a group, as long as the lowest paid person's not having to pay more than about 10%, so less than that, of their wages towards the cost of a single plan, then you're fine. What triggers that, they go to the marketplace, get a subsidy, and now the government wants some money because they got a subsidy. And that's kind of how they trigger. However, I will say this, just in talking about plans, this has been kind of a community discussed thing for what I read, what I hear, and what we've talked about. And by the way, it's good to be here because we tried twice before on other subjects and somehow that agenda
Yep.
we got, but it's great to be here. Jeremy and I were talking about that. But on the subject of what you should do on a health plan, how much you should pay, there's a lot of answers. You know, anyone who says they have all the answers probably haven't heard all the questions. But I'll say this: groups your size in our community and other communities nearby typically pay 90 to 100% of the employee cost, and most do not pay towards there's Mr. Rivera, towards the dependent cost. But when
Okay.
they do, can really help a family. You know, so the old saying, every time you say yes to
Yeah.
something, you're saying no to something else, so you got to
Okay.
weigh it out, you know? And so,
Say that one more time.
which part?
The whole part.
Okay, so.
Just
if
that most employers
Most
pay-
employers will pay, I say your size, will pay 90 to 100% of the single. Some pay 75% of the employee cost.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Rivera.
Hi, how
And-
you doing, Mr. Goy?
I'm good. And we started off by saying the timing it took to get from my office to here, which was
So we
95
could
seconds.
slow
So
it down for
haven't-
you. We want
you
to
haven't
give you a
missed
whole.
much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to employer and how you contribute to, and the ACA has penalties and you guys have no risk of being a penalty. We'll let you know if you ever do. That was the other part.
Okay.
So I see some groups pay 75% of the employee your size, but the majority are 90% or 95%. Some pay 100% of the employee cost. Sometimes we discourage a group to pay 100%, pay 99% or 95%, only for this reason. If somebody doesn't take your coverage and they get on the bank's plan where they might be paying it all, and then they have a claim that they would have got more from your plan, a good attorney might say, well, why would they ever turn down free coverage? So if you're gonna pay 100%, it's good to try to drive them into that plan at 100%. It hardly ever comes up, but it's just something to think about. But even if they paid $1 a month, there's some monetary cost that would keep them from getting the coverage. But we have a lot of groups do 100%, and honestly, in 40 years, I haven't seen any get in trouble by it. It just always was a warning to us from some lawyers when we were in training. But anyway, So back to the 100% of the employee or 90% of the employee, a lot of groups your size, this area, that's what they do. Most do not pay towards the family cost. Some do, and when they do, it's great. And you can do towards the family cost like you're doing. And one of the reasons you went to the family contribution in the first place, if you go way back when I started in the 80s, it was hard for groups your size to maintain health insurance without getting giant rate increases, and they had nowhere to go. And if you got in a bad pool, you didn't have all these guaranteed options like ACA. Well, fast forward to the state pool when it came around as an option. They, as long as you joined and followed the rules and stayed in it 3 years, and you paid 95 to 100% of the single cost and 65% of the family cost, and you had to do that. Then you had 3 years you had to stay with it. And then to get out of it was really, really hard. 2 years, I came in the last 5 years and just talked, just as a courtesy to the commissioners, and said, I wouldn't leave because I knew some claims going on. When you're in a small town, you sometimes know claims going on.
Yeah.
And if you're paying $1.4 million for insurance or $1.3 million, but back then it's less, and you have a $500,000 claim going on like a premature baby, you could use up half or all that money pretty fast. So I couldn't tell you at that time to take that chance because I live in town, you could find me somewhere. If I wouldn't get paid for it, I was just doing it as a courtesy. Anyway, the thing is, when you went to the 3-year deal and we were able to work with Blue Cross Christie, Susan, to try to get away from the state plan, it wasn't easy because they gave us a itty bit of experience 2 years ago and a little more last year, but isn't enough for Christie Mitchell Blue Cross to say. You know, insurance, go ahead. Sorry.
What prompted leaving the state plan? Because that's a big question.
Well, it was all the money, the control, no claims experience. You're always stuck with them. They gave you rate increases every January and July, and you were stuck. You couldn't get out of it hardly. And once you signed up, you're in it 3 years again. So you were at their control.
Gotcha.
We were seeing increases, sometimes 7%, sometimes 12%, but you couldn't go manage a plan or change it.
And did they initially require the contribution to the family too? Was that?
Oh yeah, they required it. You could not join
Required
without
it,
paying
okay.
65%. That's how you got into the family contribution. To get out of it is a lot harder. Now the college got out of it a few years ago, a little ahead of you guys in that. So when we look at, and our goal is simply to show you accurate options. All insurance ever is at the end of the day is a transfer of risk for a dollar amount. When you transfer the risk, how much risk do you want to take? Some people say, well, I sure like my prescriptions to pay everything, but we could ask you to pay 100% on prescriptions. You won't like the price. But you can design a plan a lot of ways. But we felt like with Blue Cross, since they already had the state plan and Blue Cross could get you a quote, even though we looked at quotes from United Healthcare, Aetna, Captives, and a whole bunch of other companies, it was pretty easy last year, the decision to go with Blue Cross. When they came in, and I won't get into all the history, the detail, but there was all sorts of savings floating around depending on how you calculate it. The most common was $73,000. It would save on the medical plan. Now, when you do that, you might have a employee child on one plan higher than the state plan, but another one's lower. But if everyone enrolled in the same exact plan, same contribution, it was about $73,000 of savings. Now
That's what they saved by.
The whole county, whether it's
Okay.
the employer contribution or combination between the medical and dental. And there's some other things that we could talk about that my goal right now is just to give you ideas on what you could do for funding going forward, because I think the purpose is how do you save money without losing employees? How do you say, what are my other options? How do you get there, and maybe how are we going to try to keep rates down? Well, this year we start 6 months prior talking to the companies about looking at taking on the risk of the county. But we really can't get the final numbers till Blue Cross gives us the renewal, because that also is when we get the final claims experience. They know what risk they're taking. So we're getting all ready, and we do that. At that point, we tell them, well, how much are they paying towards the plan? Well, they're going to pay currently 100% of the single and so much for the family. But we want to look at plans if you pay just 100% of the single. You don't pay the family, all right? So we're pretty good at getting rates and solid, doing that type of thing. So one of the questions that came up was, do you have to pay? How can you save money, and what's a good plan to do? Well, if you were paying just 100%, of the single cost, if you were, you'd take the 99 employees that are on the medical, you'd take it times, times the premium of 902, and then you take it times 12, and so you're probably going to save $335,000 or something like that in premiums just by saying we're going to pay the single, not the family. I'm not recommending or saying you should do that or not do that. Some companies, when they do it, they might walk before they run, or like building a puzzle, they do what's called a defined contribution plan. So you might say, you know what, for families, This year, we're gonna contribute 400 a month towards the family, period, not all of it. And then you're 200 or 600, then and the other thing on the employee cost, I think you're better off, rather than saying you're gonna pay 100% of the single, if the single was 902, say we're gonna pay 900, and the reason you like a fixed dollar amount, we've been doing this a long time to recommend this to groups, if you get a big rate increase, you're at the mercy of the increase, you're already paying 100%. But if you get an increase next year of 10% and your 902 goes to 992, you can say, well, we're gonna pay, our fixed cost is going from 900 to 940, we're not just stuck with the increase.
Gotcha.
So if you can control it better, in my opinion, with a fixed cost.
And so if the contributions, if it only costs 902 to, so it would only be $2, but you would do 900 the
Or
next
whatever
year
amount
also,
you want,
or whatever,
850,
okay.
yeah, whatever amount you wanna come up with.
So, so you're saying, and then you would do 400 towards family, well, but you would add the 900 to that too then, right?
Yes, you would,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
you would.
All right.
It'd be for like if they have a child or a spouse and children.
So you'd get 400 towards anything, 400 extra. that
For an
you
extra,
can-
towards a plan, they have to take the plan.
Have to take the
It used to
plan.
be in the old days, you didn't have to take the plan, they just gave you money. That
Okay.
didn't work too
No.
good.
Okay.
You got a lot of adverse selection. You really gotta take the plan. So then, the other thing we do on the other side is what if someone says, golly, the 400's not gonna help me pay this 1,100 I need to pay for my spouse and children, or whatever it is.
I think it's more
So,
than that.
or whatever, I'm just throwing a number out, making a
Yeah.
hypothetical. So we then put Jeremy to work, he's one of the best I've ever seen at this, and we analyze what it would be to get on the marketplace. Okay, household income is X, and we have this amount of a subsidy you can get because your income might be, between household might be 70,000, 80, 30, 90, whatever it is. And then we tell you what that's gonna look like if you need that better. In some cases, you can end up with Blue Cross and better, others, you'll hardly ever get the same network that you got now. You got
Okay.
as good a network as you'll ever get. But some people love it because they're only gonna go to KU or Pittsburgh or Kansas City or Children's Mercy anyway, and some will not like it. And I'm again not recommending you do this, I'm trying to tell you what some other companies do, and it has worked for them, but, so anyway, if you move down, and then so how we, also, another thing we do as we move on down the road toward getting rates is, we go to the whole market, and with your permission, then we like to give Blue Cross the last look. I've been a broker in business for them since 1985, and I do this with other companies. Hey, we get a quote in from United Healthcare, it's full disclosure, and we're 9% less. So, you're 9% less, that's a lot of money to the county. Is there any way you can tell your underwriter to get that down? And sometimes we can use that leverage to drive down your cost. And that's even another reason why we like to wait till the renewal comes with Blue Cross, because maybe it's not even an increase at all. But your claims experience, we'll go over that Monday night. We never really know for sure. We've seen them all over the board. We've
So
seen
you
groups
do have
go
that
down
now,
there.
or you don't have the
We will have the
experience?
claims experience. Well, I think 2 or 3 months ago, let me just tell you, it was around like 50-some% 4 months ago, and I don't have it with me, 70-some%, it was around 85 or 90 maybe in the last month or two, the total experience that was going up. That doesn't mean you're gonna have it bad, but usually if you get close to that area, you're looking at inflationary increase, which could be 3 to 11% area, we just don't know. And Christie's bringing the updated Monday, because I don't have that updated Monday, we'll see it. That's part of what we're doing at 5:15.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I think one thing that's gonna, as I sit and think about it, and as we've gone through our budget process this year, I think it's gonna be a problem for our plan. We may need to do a short plan year and get our rates sooner, because we need to have that pretty much locked in by July, August, knowing what our rates are gonna be. And that's why it worked on the state plan, because we always knew a year in advance. And so I could see that becoming a problem here if we don't have a pretty good idea. So you might have to run a short plan year and then get us into a different renewal. Because with our October renewal for January 1 date is gonna cause us, I think it could cause us some issues.
Yeah, that's a good question. And so what we do there with the state, it was a little complicated too, because even in July they gave you rates of what they were. Then in January they raised them twice a year, so you still kind of
But you
had.
knew well ahead.
You knew what it was going to be, but you
You
hadn't.
well ahead.
Yeah, but on what most groups and schools, we do a lot of schools too. And schools, they sometimes are looking to get their budget, and they don't have the rate either. And can we do this early? And we look at
But
planned
they
short
always do it
years.
in October.
Yeah, and
So
we
they
look
have a
at
pretty good idea.
we have some that are doing their budgets right now. Some up near St. Joe that are doing June and July, trying to get their budget.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get their rates for them for January, and we're working on that. We looked at short plan years for them this year, And it wasn't as attractive, it just didn't turn out, it could. So you can always ask for that. We have been drilling Blue Cross since last year, and even today. We really we start 6 months prior, we want the renewal no later than 120 days prior. You know, we're trying to get it 120, it still may be 90, because Christy was saying she was getting pushback from Topeka underwriters at getting it 100, she's the Blue Cross rep, 120 days prior, but we're pushing to get that. One of the ways that a lot of groups do it, and we have some groups in town, I could give you names that I won't here, but they partially self-fund or level fund or self-fund. And that sounds scary, but if you get a
Say
self-funded
that
plan,
slower.
partial self-fund or level fund, and they're all kind of a way of, most groups, 60% of groups in America roughly use to self-fund. And that sounds risky, and I'll tell you the risk with it, but we're gonna look at it anyway for you, because it's worth the risk. Again, insurance is a transfer risk for a dollar amount. You have a stop loss and an aggregate, but if the total worst case scenario is close to your worst case scenario of fully insured, and you get your money back, and you get daily claims updates, you can predict your trend in your claims and your rates pretty easy. Northwestern does that. They tell us, I'm on a group course with 20,000 people, but they tell us in advance claims are running good. They used to give premium holidays. They'd say like every September, hey, claims are looking good, you don't have to pay premium in December. They haven't done that now for 15 years, but they did it for a while. Anyway, there's things you can do with self-funded, and I wouldn't get scared of the word self-funded. Where self-funded goes bad is when you don't have run out, you don't have a good aggregate, and you have a census that goes from like 100 to 50 and it stays that way. If you're having high turnover, it's okay. And if in today's world, you also got to remember that there's a lot of backup plans for the marketplace. There used to not be, so more companies will take a chance of self-funded now. Because you could do, the marketplace will always take a group if something really goes south and you can't, not that you want it. But there used to be in the 80s and 90s, you wouldn't even be sure you get coverage. You know, we had farmers hire their wife and their cousin to become employees to get a group they could get because they did anything to get coverage. You know, we worked with a lot of those. So, but we were going to look at everything, and then we're going to use that to drive down the cost with Blue Cross. But Blue Cross, if they're competitive, you know, we had a group in Iola just the other day that we couldn't get Blue Cross low enough. We're moving them to United Healthcare, but we tried. And Blue Cross just said, we can't come down any lower. United Healthcare just wants the business, and they got deeper pockets apparently. I mean, you know, and it works both ways, you know. So that's a great thing. And Susan, I think we should at least look at a short plan year, because again, our goal is to not be biased one way or the other. It's to show you all your accurate options, put them on the table, self-funded, fully insured, contribution plans, and where there's more contribution required, and a short plan year. I think we should put it on the spreadsheet, take a look.
Yeah, the only reason why I say that is because if we had an October
Mhm.
start date, we would have our numbers, if it's 90 days, 120 days, you'd have it during the budget.
Yep.
season.
I think we should at least look. What's wrong with looking at any ideas you have?
Yeah.
Let me know, and we'll look at anything. We can write for about everybody. I can't think of anybody we can't really go to the market for on groups. There's new plans that are taking off now. There are plans with GAP, where you buy like a 5,000 or 4,000 deductible, and you buy a GAP plan through another company to fill the gap. That we're going to look at those. There's copay plans where it used to be 10 to 20% of the people have 80 to 90% of the claims. So the other 80% were like, I'm not even getting a benefit out of this. And now there's these plans that are taking popularity and they're working real good. The company I used to consult with, Willis, we had a large school district, 7,000 people we consulted with, and they're doing this plan quite a bit now. Anyway, what they would do is everybody pays a copay for about every procedure, but you get first dollar coverage. You go get an MRI, you might pay $175, an X-ray might be $50, but everything is driven, and if you end up in the hospital, you're more out of pocket. But those for the 5 to 10% of the people having all the claims, that seems to be a fair way to, everybody feels like they're getting a benefit. Well, we're gonna look at it, you may not like it, but we wanna show you everything.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. And I've talked a lot, so I wanna listen to your questions, and let Jeremy comment, but
What's the benefit to this short claim year or the short enrollment? What would the benefit to that be?
what they'll usually tell us, whether it's Blue Cross or anybody else, they'll say, well, it could help you or hurt you. If you go with a short plan year, you're not getting a 1-year rate guarantee now on your rates. So now you gotta do this all over again pretty quick.
Gotcha.
But if you go with a short plan year and it works, then if it's October the next year, we're maybe in June telling you what your rates are instead of August. And then
It's
it might
for the
help.
budget
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
So that helps.
It's not to get better rates or whatever. It
Right.
was clearly to get it in with our budget cycle.
That's right.
I understand,
So that
but what
you-
would, I just wanna know what the downfall would be, or the benefit would
You
be.
just have to do more work.
The benefit would be the budget, so the downfall would be we don't get locked in, and if the rates went up, then now all of a sudden we got
Because you
higher
could have
rates
bad
sooner.
experience in this
We have
5 or
higher
6
rates
months in
sooner.
the short year, and now
And
you're
that
gonna
would
get
be
higher
the
rates.
downfall, is
That
that
would be a
right?
downfall, yes.
Okay, higher rates sooner.
Yeah, and they have a, yeah, they're looking at, you know, when Blue Cross
That's
looks,
exactly
they look back, they cut off the renewal, like for January, I think they cut it off August or September, I think August, the end of the, and they use that experience to build the renewal. So they're doing that, and so when they do your renewal for October, they're gonna be kind of looking at this period, but they're not gonna have a whole, closer to a year of new experience. It's gonna kind of overlap with some of that. So that could be good or bad, you
From a
know.
financial perspective, you don't have any reserves in that fund. And so if the renewal comes in higher than what we budgeted, 10%, let's say it came in at 12%, you have no place to go for those dollars because all your income comes from taxes. And if we've already set the levy, you'll have to be cutting a budget somewhere to get those dollars to pay for that health insurance. So that's why we always kept a reserve there. So, okay, sorry.
No.
Could you explain the self-funding a little more?
Yeah, let's say, for example, if you had your house insured with a 500 deductible, you're gonna pay more premium than if you have your house insured for 10,000 deductible. You know, but you're gonna pay more money out if you have that claim. But, so that's a stop loss. So you buy a stop loss that might say, any claim over 20,000 or 30,000, even if it's 10 million, you pay that, but they pay everything above it, the stop loss. Then they do an aggregate, and the aggregate says, well, a group of 100 people, we're gonna limit you to 10 max claims. So 10 claims of 30,000, you're gonna owe 300. Then the aggregate pays everything. So really, it's just like insurance. It looks, acts, goes to, my card is self-funded, but it says Blue Cross of Illinois on it, but you know, self-funded. You really can't tell the difference, except when you are the employer, you are potentially getting reserves back. You know, there's some checks written once a month or once a week for claims, or in case of Blue Cross, when they do self-funded, they are their own TPA. You don't have to hire, like in the old days of MedPlan 2000, or some TPA to come in and hire claims for. You're like an accounting firm because they are their own. So is United Healthcare. A lot of them have their own TPA internally. So it still works the same, but really because you're cutting out some of the mandatory requirements and you have more room to tailor make your plan. And this is where I like the self-funded. I know of places where, like, and I'm not gonna show favoritism to any hospital or doctor or whatever, but I know some places that you can get MRIs or other things in other areas within a couple hours. And if you're willing to pay cash for them, you know, then they may be 10% or 20% of the cost. However, they won't go towards your deductible. And coinsurance, some of those companies say you can't get anybody to pay, you have to pay yourself, and some say, but anyway, we have one company near Parsons, Kansas, that's what they do. Every time you find a better deal, they go to the employer. Since I found this better deal and saved $2,000, will you pay it all in full for the $400? They do. And you can tailor make your plans. You can you have the ability within reasonable insurance underwriting rules to design a plan, and it works good. But when it works bad, it's because you don't have a plan to fall back on if your claims get high, because a self-funded plan can give you higher rate increases, which you can always leave them. And you want them with run out. Run out means if I have a claim December 31st and it's $1 million and I haven't got the claim in by January 1 and you're changing insurance, they're not going to say you never got it in time. They give you 12 months to get the claim in. That's called a 1224. And if you do it right, we've been writing self-funded plans since 1985, and we try to be real cautious. We've not been sued by anybody over anything like that, by the grace of God, I guess. But anyway, the point is we work real hard at that, but it's worth looking at. But David, does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Self-funded
yeah.
a little bit. We can give you illustrations and charts, but
Okay.
sometimes to come in and show all these papers, you might run us out before we're done, because it's a lot of papers. But we will show you as many as you need to see. Yes?
On the self-funding, how would that affect our cash basis accounting? Would we have to have a reserve for providing
It's a
the
free
stop
for all.
loss?
That's a great question. When you go pure
This is a regular
self-funding, the
meeting.
beginning claims probably don't trickle into the
It's a
70,
regular
90
meeting.
day.
It's
And some
out of order.
TPAs require you to have a
Oh,
reserve.
yeah.
When you go level funded, they don't, they
Yeah.
just advance the payment. Or with the reserve plan, they do what's called an aggregate accommodation. It's like a loan, it's like a 1 or 2% extra charge in your plan, and they advance the money
Okay.
till you get it in. But that's,
So-
that is part of it. In the old days, they all required a reserve. Yeah, they did, so,
It's generally in a separate bank account too.
yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
let's keep the comments here, okay, at the table for
Okay,
now.
okay.
Okay, so do you have any questions?
I'm still digesting this.
Okay. The only other question I had was in, early up there, yeah, what is the percent of the family cost right now?
Do you want me to hand this out, or do you?
You know, like on the employee, we're paying 100%.
Well, the state required a minimum of 65, and I think you were doing a little more than that. Do you remember what that was, Susan?
No, I don't, off the top of my head.
But they left the state because they didn't want to pay what the state required them to pay,
No,
and
they
then
still-
they
they
paid
s-
more anyway?
They,
I think it stayed, the rate
No.
stayed the same. There
It's
was no
about
change.
65 still.
it was 65 or higher that you were
Okay.
paying. So, it was 65 is required by the state, but you guys were a little more generous than that. And then also last year, before it took over, the HSA had some money
When you
contributed.
said-
I
not
think
this
we
When
year.
you
were
say
only
required
more
by-
generous on the employee.
Okay.
When you say required by the state, are you
State.
talking by the state plan or the state statute?
The state Kansas health plan that you joined.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
thank
the
you.
plan.
Sorry about that. So,
I'm still trying to get you some numbers, Mr. Beerbauer, that you asked for.
So we've got all the spreadsheet, when we write a plan like last year, we came in and we said, you could take the 72, 73,000, you can do whatever you want with it, you can also keep the rates the same, and knowing that it may be a little different for a few people, and Christy Mitchell and I from Blue Cross talked about that. All Blue Cross cares about is they get their monthly premium for the total amount of risk. How you divide it up, we don't get involved in that, we can't, you know. And certainly, if an employee comes to see us or calls us, we want to find that out before we consult them. You know, that this is what you're gonna pay, and it's pre-tax, it's gonna save you whatever. Yeah.
Okay. And you're back on Monday here?
5:15. And so
Yeah.
Christy Mitchell will be here with Blue Cross.
Okay.
And also, yeah. And-
5:15, 5:30.
Well, it's 5:30, I think. We're gonna be here 5:15, because I told her
Oh,
wrong. So I'm not gonna tell her the difference. Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
so
got
it'd be great if you thought of some more questions between now and then.
Right,
While
right.
you
And
have a
I think I
chance.
will,
And
yeah.
we may, and if we have to do another meeting, you know, later in the week or a different day, we're just, I got, my opening statement was we're 95 seconds away. We can come back over. Really, we wanna be here and we wanna answer your questions.
And those
We wanna
charts
help
are for
the
what?
community.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, you.
Oh,
we can-
Jeremy's got a calendar that kind of gives you an
Got it.
estimation of how we go through the process of getting your claims. And we were gonna pass that
Yeah,
out, weren't we, Jeremy?
this chart,
It's
and
a
then this was,
calendar.
this was just numbers on kind of
Yeah.
a quick summary of where you are on the rates and the contributions. But yeah, if, this is just kind of, this is kind of our,
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
our kind of a planning calendar. They're
Oh, he's got
passing
one? Okay, let me get him. They got him.
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
We do this for a group so we can be in order and you could predict what's gonna happen on the timing of things. But this can be changed. If you don't like the order, we can move it around, okay?
Well, and this is, as of right now, this was with a January renewal. Obviously, if it was October, we would adjust that. But based on kind of a January renewal, looking at the timeline of how we prepare for the renewal. And right now, you know, Christy with Blue Cross is telling us that first week of October, she should have renewal numbers. We've been, like he said, pushing her to get them by September, the 120 days prior. This calendar is just based on looking at that and trying to, I think, last year we did open enrollment, started kind of that last week of October. So I still tried to kind of leave that kind of as somewhat of the goal on there, moving backwards. That kind of puts a tight window on when they get us the renewal, but part of the process is even in September, before we have that renewal, like Don said, we've already been talking, strategizing, looking at things, the claims history and that ahead of time. But in September, when we're 120 days out and the carriers will start to be allowing us to quote a January date, we'll make sure we have a correct, accurate census from you. And with Employee Navigator, it should be pretty accurate based on that. We can start building our you know, our marketing and sending that out to the market to get all these proposals and options like Don talked about, and we'll tell them we want to see, you know, a January 12-month renewal and a short year to see both, and we can compare all the options. So that's kind of just showing the outline, the time frame that we have. Just, we wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of, you know, what the goal is, and obviously sometimes that changes based on, you know, what comes back from the carriers or what the renewal looks like, but this is the ideal timeline now, unless we can get even
Right.
earlier renewal.
I appreciate it, thank you. Commissioners?
So just to clarify, on the family plan, it's 83%.
Looks like it. The plan's 2601,
It was more generous than the state last year.
2601,
Yeah.
and then, well, it's close. We're paying 2181, and if I do the 83% there, it's 2158. So, yeah, right around that.
You don't have very many people on the family plan.
Yeah, you
Imagine it
have,
makes a difference.
you have, yeah, 5 people enrolled in family.
Okay.
How many's
All
employee
right,
child?
that's,
And-
keeping it in perspective.
Yeah,
you know.
and
Right.
And the most dependents you have is people with employee child. You have 19 there.
19.
Is that what it
And
is?
if you
Oh,
if you want this
Yeah.
this is just the
Yeah.
I
percentages.
think this can be helpful. It's
Yeah.
got some good numbers in
The
it.
percentages on here, I'll explain. They're not matching what she says, but the way this worksheet calculates the percentages, it bases on, so you see in the middle that dark blue where it says employer contribution percentage, it's basing those percentages for the dependent parts on the amount above the single rate. So it's kind of the portion that's above the
So you
single
have
rate.
to add the
How mu-
900 to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing that on the numbers that you're seeing, but when you look at the percentages, like you said, 80 something, it shows for the 1,000 deductible plan, it shows 59% for family, but that's 59% of the additional cost above the.
So if you want to see some different numbers Monday, let us know. You know, in a different way of formatting it or presenting it. But
And this just showed two, yeah, sorry, just to explain it. So those first 2 rows are your current plans with your current contributions and those dollar amounts, so you can see the total employer monthly contribution, employee count, and then what the employees.
This is the correct chart for us, though.
thank
Is
you.
that right?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
an easier way to figure percentages for me. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah,
a lot
that's,
of
that's
Yeah, we
right.
looked at that earlier.
skewed
We did that.
numbers.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, the dollar amounts on this is all accurate, and of what it shows. So you can see the employee's cost per paycheck, and the bottom 2, just kind of showing you the far end, both ends of the spectrum. The bottom 2 were hypothetical if you just, like Don said, only paid 100% of the single and nothing to the dependents, what the difference in the employer cost is, the employee cost, and what the employee per paycheck, to see the difference. So like if you looked at those 2 versus those 2, you see the increase to that cost, just as kind of both sides of the coin there.
So we have 19 on employee child.
Mm-hmm.
We have 5 on family.
Full
Yeah.
family.
Okay. And then what else do we have?
Employee spouse.
You've got 4 on employee spouse.
Okay.
between the 2
And then what do
plans.
we have? What's our number on single?
99 on employee.
Well, no, 99 total. So
99
it's,
total on employees.
71.
Well, 71 just
71,
employee only.
okay.
Yeah, but 99 total employees, right?
So we have 20 employees that don't take anything at all? Okay.
Go over their numbers again, what you just said. Here, Commissioner Milburn. 71 employees.
71 employee only, 19 employee plus child, 4 employee plus spouse, and we have 5 family.
Okay, and then you said 20 non-insured.
Yeah, 20 non-insured. Because the total number of employees, 119.
So right now, the 20 that are non-insured are essentially they're not being benefited as greatly.
And it could be because they're on Medicare, they could have spouses coverage.
Oh, yeah, they're
They could have,
somewhere else.
yeah.
Yeah.
They could also be part-time.
Yeah.
So we
And
only
they
have
could also be
99
commissioners.
employees total.
On the plan, on the medical plan. You have 100 on the dental, I think,
Yeah.
and 99 on the medical
And
total.
we have 119 total.
Yes, sir. Has that changed? That 119?
It changes from payroll to payroll depending on, you got people
Yeah,
coming and going, so that's
right.
just a rough.
That's right, because that would change. The last number, the 119 I got was about 3 weeks ago, but one has left Public Works, but two more came on. Two left
And
Public
some
Works.
coming off and coming on might be on the same.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'd be nice to get a nice real number.
Navigator says 121 for August.
121 for August, okay.
Yeah. Thought I had printed that.
Yeah. What do we want? Do we want to give any direction of what Dawn should bring us next?
Can I see that sheet you wrote on, please?
Yeah.
I just want to look at it real quick.
You're welcome.
I want to hear more on the self-funding, but I think you guys are bringing that.
We will.
Yeah,
We'll bring level funded and self-funded.
okay, yeah. Those three that you mentioned. What was it, self-funding, level funding, and one other, partial self?
Yeah, partial.
Yeah,
And sometimes the carrier will send us the one they look the best on.
okay. Does anybody have further questions for Mr. Doherty?
No, sir, I appreciate you coming here and giving us some information.
Thank you
Commissioner
all very
Milburn?
much.
No?
I think we're good for now.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate getting to work with you. We're ready to help when you let us know. We'll
All
see you
right.
Monday.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Okay, so next on the agenda item will be executive session pursuant to KSA 75.
That was only for Dawn if he needed it.
Okay,
So you want to strike
Sorry.
that?
that was for non.
For Dawn.
Oh, I got
Just in
it.
case you need to talk about.
Okay. So then next would be payroll discussion. Who's on that? Who's the initiator that added that to it?
I'm the, I'm the offender.
Okay, are you that on budget as well?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to know who I was gonna hand the floor to. So, hang on here just a second. Before we proceed any further, I'll caution, this is just like any other meeting. We can't have blurt outs, we can't have, until, raise your hand, be recognized, that type of stuff before we move on. Otherwise, we're just blurting out questions and answers, and we're not gaining any ground for the commissioners who have to make these decisions. So, I just caution, we value the input, but let's do it in an orderly manner. So moving forward, payroll discussion, Commissioner Milburn, you have the floor.
I had put that on there because payroll has been working with Dawn to see how we're gonna integrate that with the system that we're in the process of deploying. And that he wasn't able to make it to come work and talk through that, so I think we can move on.
You're
to the
gonna
next
move on
one.
from
Yeah,
that?
I think so.
Okay, so, we're basically tabling that then? Or
We can just
cancel
re-add it, yeah, we'll just cancel it, re-add it later.
Okay.
if we need
We're gonna
to.
cancel all of the payroll discussion and, budget discussion. Commissioner Milburn.
I believe that we need to add some necessary things into the budget doc. Because if we have to have it done Monday at the R&R hearing, then I wanna not drag it out. And since we are already coming here to the special meeting, I thought it would be wise to add it. So. First, since we don't know what we're gonna do for 911, I almost think that we have to put that 300,000 in there. I haven't heard back from Brad about those numbers that he gave us the first day that he presented to us being correct.
Okay.
So I have to figure the budget numbers that Susan pulled. And then the one I got from Lou here, I don't know
Well,
how we would
and-
go off
and,
anything else. And then the
when we-
added employee insurance, I just don't know how we, assume we're not gonna have those expenses.
When we ended yesterday, Madam Clerk was going to bring two projections, one raising it by 40,000, one raising it to 300,000. So we'll know that come Monday, to determine which way we want to go. I
We
mean,
will know by Monday, or?
we'll know the projections of what it does to the mill. I mean, we're already exceeding the mill, the revenue neutral rate now. So,
Has anybody reached out to Brad and asked for their financial statement for 2024?
I thought that's what this was.
We don't know where it came from, that's the problem.
It came from Lou.
But she doesn't have access to their accounting system, so I don't know if that was projections for budgets, or if that was her own projections. I would say if you call and ask for the 2024 end of year fiscal year for just communications is what they call it over there. And so you can get accurate numbers for the end of '24. And you want detail, because they have their financials in detail, so that it breaks it down by health insurance. I mean, it's a printout that comes out of their system. And that'll give you a pretty good idea of projections for the next year if you want more accurate numbers.
It'd be nice if ours were in detail.
Nobody, it does print detail.
We have these, we have access to these details of everybody's budget.
I put it in the last packet, financials.
Yeah, but it doesn't break, are you talking about breaking down my line items?
Yeah, I just
for
mean
each-
like
for
by
each
the
division?
whole
That is
year.
line
I
items.
just-
They've never had detailed line items in the county, ever.
So basically, everybody just gave you a lump sum.
They give you salary line, contractual,
So
Well,
we
this is
know
what I
when it
mean,
says
this is what I'm saying, it'd be
contractual
real nice
service.
if we had this for,
You would have to ask each department to do that for you,
Mhm.
and it
I thought I
creates.
did.
And that's,
Well, you asked for that in a budget presentation to you, but in the accounting system, you would have to create ledger numbers to get that level of detail.
So did we get it in the budget presentation? Do we have this level of detail? Did they turn it into you? Cause I asked for them to turn it into you,
Yes,
so
I
you do
have
have them?
some, but not all. I have some, but not all.
Did they give that to you guys with the Budget Advisory Committee, Mr. Motley?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Did they give you detailed breakdown as to each part of their,
Some
some,
did and
some
some did not.
didn't, some did not? Okay. Because I've always had, I mean, and that's what I was looking through there the other day when it starts talking, and then I know, we see them on the accounts payable with the commodities, and I'm like Mr. Motley, I don't want to micromanage who buys paper clips from where.
It wouldn't be
you know.
micromanaging just to get it in this kind of
Yeah,
format.
but when it comes to contractual services, I'd like to know who, who we're,
I can give
who we're
you-
getting
I
that.
can give you detailed level. I'd want to email it to you because it could be a huge document.
right,
So,
And-
but I could give you that at the end of each month.
right.
So
And
you
then
can
I
see-
didn't see it as much this year as last year, because I think because everybody did step up and, help with trying to get to the bottom bare essentials of what we could go. But, when it comes to capital outlays, all you ever see is capital outlay, X number of dollars. But what are they, what's the capital outlay that they're breaking it down? And in this certificate that they submitted yesterday, the draft, there was very
Well,
minimal.
The state document doesn't get to that level. It never gets to that level. By law, to have a capital improvement plan or to have a capital equipment plan, you're supposed to have a 5-year plan by law. That's what the statute says. And I'd be more than happy to get that for you guys, but
Okay, did you,
Susan, can the report writer filter for size of transaction? So everything over
No.
5,000,
no, no. I would have to export it into Excel and then do like a pivot table.
No, that's not easy.
Yeah, no, not with our system.
so I'm a little bit confused. Do you want to micromanage or do you not want to micromanage?
like what I was talking about is on commodities. I don't want to, I think if we can come up with a better deal countywide, on purchasing of office supplies and every department was on board. But again, once you approve their budgets, they can buy their paper clips from
Well,
whoever
those-
they want.
Yeah, I understand, that in
uh,
itself is, and again, I don't know what.
I don't think anybody wants to micromanage, but it doesn't hurt us to be aware. Yeah, because
And
if
when
we're
we
not
see that-
aware, then we blindly just,
Yeah, and you see that awareness every month on your accounts payable.
Yeah, I
Or
see
every-
that, but again, and I'm not arguing. I'm playing devil's advocate. But we give elected officials their budget, how they manipulate their budgets up to them. Make sense? So again, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you guys are saying. I'm just like, how deep of a dive do you want to do this? And then if you do go down that deep, what do you want to do about it?
Well, and again, I'm not overly concerned about what other elected officials do with their budgets. I mean, somewhat, I mean, you know, and if the capital outlay is there for people to see, then the voters really can say, well, I think you're overspending your money. And next election, they take care of that. But it's our own department. All I see is capital outlay, X number of dollars, but I don't know where that money's going. And when you ask, you know, all of a sudden you get, and I'm just gonna, you know, throw it out here because this is what has hit us since January. You get them going down to Texas to buy a vehicle that they bought off Purple Wave, or you going up and because they found something on Facebook Marketplace and they go up and buy a salt spreader in Kansas City. You know, when you don't see a breakdown list of a strategic plan that we're going to buy our equipment this way here, then you're buying other people's stuff. And so that's all I'm saying is that, yeah, I don't really want to micromanage, but I do think we need to have an awareness of where our money is going or where our taxpayers' money is going. That's my viewpoint on that.
So it's only one department.
Well, I only control one department plus courthouse. Custodian, and I don't see the custodian, yeah, we control public works. We control the custodians. We control the appraiser. What else do we control? We don't control sheriff's department. We don't
EMS.
control, yeah, we control EMS. They do a pretty good job about alerting us what they, you know, they got a plan. They lay out a plan for us. We know how much money we're gonna be spending on ambulances, you know, for the next, because they gotta order them 4 years out. But we don't know that with Public Works. I have not ever seen that with Public Works.
It exists. I just probably haven't, maybe it hasn't been brought to you guys.
I know it exists. My thing is like when it comes to PW, it's you've only been in the helm 8 months. You've been on the helm
less than that.
less than that. I've been on there coming up on 2. So it's kind of like we're already behind the curve because of all the things that we didn't control leading into 2025. Is there something which I'm going somewhere with this? So yeah, listen to the budget committee. We do need to come up with a strategic plan for everybody. That's like huge on my list for next year, starting in January. Not starting in June, but in January. I've been beating this back and forth. We're not going R&R. We're slightly above R&R, correct?
The valuation.
Right, okay. So my thing is like, listen to what everybody said at the table yesterday and digesting this overnight. I'm like, I asked Jennifer to run some numbers for me real quick, and then I ran those numbers. So we use, if we take Madam Clerk's advice and we go flat, completely flat for 2026, taking into consider your concern about E911, okay? And everything else that's happening, we can we could roughly put $575,000 into the general fund. Add that with the current money that we're projected having there, we'll have about $700,000.
I don't think you can do that because there were raises given that were not in last year's budget.
I understand. I'm not saying there's some fine tuning there because the list that Jennifer had, it was quick. We did in 5
okay.
minutes. What I'm saying, this is
Okay.
not hard and fast numbers,
Okay.
but it's substantial numbers.
Okay.
Okay? But it can only be 1 year. We do it that 1 year, But man, we cannot, if we do this, if we go down this road and we don't have a strategic plan for coming out of 2026 for 27, we have just, pardon my French, you just screwed the pooch. You have just messed it all up. Now, we came into this job behind the 8 ball, and we're trying to get out from behind it as best as we can. We have to make really hard decisions.
Okay.
The decision that I'm hearing from the two of you and from a lot of our constituents is do not raise their taxes. And I've listened to that.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that. In 2027, 2028, we're probably going to have to raise taxes because I don't see any other way unless we have some other revenue stream that comes in that magically falls out of the sky. We're going to have to raise taxes in 2027, 2028 because E911 will be part of us again, or part of us moving forward. The sheriff's going to have his stuff that he needs. Public Works going to have to modernize at some point. Make sense? We have to have like Public Works, like what you're saying. I plan on working with them on a modernization plan, and we need to talk to the sheriff and bring people that can help us figure out how to help him. He's doing the same thing. We need to help him also. Make sense?
Okay, so what, I mean, and I've slept since yesterday, but what are you talking about? I mean, you're saying flat.
Saying give everybody the budgets they got last year.
We have to fund the raises, that's it, but beyond that, that's it. You don't get anything else. Because honestly, look, 1.4% rate increase is not gonna break any department. It's not gonna break any department. But if we can take that money and throw it in the general fund, at least we have money in that to cover. Here's what it was in my head last night. I was saying, we are one shit from going broke. Do you understand that?
Yep.
That's it. And I don't want to be there. I don't think the people of the county want to be there.
Okay. So by going flat and everybody stays the same, then the 1.4% comes to the cash reserves. Is that
Yes,
what
sir.
you're saying? And that is, what was your numbers
It's-
again?
The number that Jennifer produced was 575, but like I said, don't hold us to it because it was
Okay.
very quick. We only had like 5 minutes.
Roughly
Yeah.
575.
But if you add that to the 124 or 128.7 that's in the thing, it comes out roughly 700 grand that we would have in the cash reserve.
I think that's the most important thing, is if you don't hit your target cash at the end of the year, then you start your next year out short. Automatically.
Okay. I mean, it's something to chew on.
Look, guys, we've worked very hard.
I think we have to chew on it now if we have this R&R hearing Monday. This is our chance to.
Well, I'm thinking, I don't think we're gonna vote on it right now.
I would not vote, I would not vote, I would not, I would,
Go ahead.
I would not vote on it right now. What I would do is I would ask that we run the numbers, really good numbers, between now and Monday, and bring it to the table on Monday. And that's when we decide, right there and then.
Because then that's when we gotta make the decision.
During the hearing,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because that's when we're gonna reach. What does this do to leaves the same numbers that the committee gave us?
It actually,
on the agenda for the hearing, it says motion to open hearing, allow comment from the public, motion to close hearing. And then there's the discussion, so we'll
That's
hear.
only for your R&R. Your R&R, you're saying you're gonna exceed R&R. That's what that whole purpose of that is. We know in order to do what Mr. Tran is saying, we would have to say we're exceeding R&R.
That's what was my question.
Yeah, that's
We're
the
still
only-
going to be above
Yeah.
R&R.
Yes, no
Okay.
matter what, that's what that hearing is
Yeah.
for. And then
Okay.
after that hearing, you guys can sit and have discussion about it and how you wanna go about it. You can have another,
Work session.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll have
I'm
to
just,
work
this
on
is
the
not
rate.
set in stone, guys. It's just something I just thought about, and you can ask Jennifer. she's
Oh,
right
it's
there.
food for thought. I
I walked
agree.
right in and said, hey, can you plug these numbers for me? Because she's way smarter at this
Yeah.
than I am.
But you have to publish these numbers, so we still need to make changes to them.
I'd have to publish it Wednesday or Saturday of that following week in order to set a
But
hearing.
we'll know on Monday, so then you'll be able to post it probably by Wednesday.
So we will know our changes on Monday, or we're gonna do another work session after Monday? None, we're not saying the same
We'll
thing
know
twice.
we're exceeding revenue neutral.
Yeah, but she has to publish this document.
What was your question?
I was asking if she could plug those numbers, run those numbers for us. Because she's already, yes,
Just a second. Sure. No, I mean, his question was to you, I was telling him to wait.
To me, you want me to run the
no,
numbers?
I was asking Jennifer.
Oh, she
Oh.
doesn't do the budget document.
So it'd be you.
Yeah.
I gave
That's
Jennifer
what I-
some numbers to give to you to plug
Yeah,
as
I have
well.
them.
And you're gonna plug those in
Mhm.
by Monday, and then plug in Sam's.
Yeah, I can.
So
A
we
different
need,
way.
so we're gonna have 3 snapshots on Monday.
Okay.
And that'll be in that, on that certificate form that way? Okay.
Ken,
I'm gonna pull it right up on that TV so you can see it happen real time.
Absolutely, okay. Appreciate that.
no pressure. You have a life.
Do it.
I'm trying not to step on anybody's toes, so you're supposed to have a life. Okay, we're all supposed to have lives. There's a work-life balance that needs to be maintained here somewhat.
Right. That's what we were referring to last night several times.
This would be nice if you could have, I don't know how you're gonna fit it all on this page, but you know how you got prior year actual for 2024, 25, 26? Maybe we could copy this, but on, like, let's say page, just for sake of conversation, page 32, we have the 3 snapshots lined out like that. Make sense? Where you just, on the one I'm asking, it'll be like
Flat,
flat. Just put flat and then just what,
and then,
May I ask Greg?
well, he's got his hand raised, but yeah, you got a question, go
I
ahead.
do have a question for him. Most of the budget's only raised by the 1.4, is that correct?
I don't know about most of it. There are probably about 8 categories that we reduced.
yes.
So,
From projected 2026, but did you reduce them from 2025?
yes.
Okay.
There were several budget items that were lower than the 2025 budget,
Okay,
and
And she didn't count those in the cost. Those were not
Okay.
calculated.
and so you're not proposing to restore those back to?
No.
Okay, all right. That was my question.
Yeah, whatever was cut
stays cut.
stays cut. It's
And then
the
you
one-
reduce everybody else to what they got last year?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
So like the appraiser static, that wasn't in there,
Right.
okay.
There was, on Jennifer's sheet that she had written down in pencil, plus, minus. Anything that was minus, my understanding is it wasn't added back up. We didn't put into the total. Am I wrong on that, Jennifer? I'm saying, okay, yeah.
okay. Okay, so the ones that the
Which-
budget committee cut, they stay cut.
Yeah,
And then the ones that the budget committee gave raises to get what they had in 2025.
right. But this also included the sheriff, because that was a huge chunk,
What did his go, what,
4.3.
What did-
About 96,000
I think
above what he.
What he got last year,
Yeah.
what did it go to though? I mean, I'm sure you,
Trey.
It was a 4.36% increase. It was like 2.4, I don't know.
the cause of it is what I was wondering. Was
I'm
it,
sorry,
is it,
what?
the cause of that, was it the raises or what was the cause of it?
Raises.
So actually that one has to stay if you're saying that it still has to cover the raises. That all went to the raises?
Okay, I may be speaking out of turn, but
$100,000?
my understanding on the raises was given to people because there was a vacancy in the manpower. So because you already
Right,
had
yeah.
budgeted, so they took that
Yeah, you're
vacant
right.
position and they used that vacant position to fund raises
Fund the
for
raises. So it actually don't need the raise for the raises is what you're
Is that
saying?
on here?
They would
it's
just need to
showing-
not fill that vacancy, is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
On here, there is a jump,
on page 31.
page 12.
I wish we had more time.
We have all evening.
You look worried. You're,
I'm not.
we have all evening.
What about employee benefits? What are you gonna do with that?
Did it go up this year or next year?
It has to.
Yeah. You have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you raised your hand.
Okay, just for full
gonna
But
clarity.
they were
There
gonna
you
eat
go.
up the reserves in employee
You have one
benefits
of
to
these?
cover employee benefits, so that's,
The thing
There-
was, there were certain things that Jennifer pointed out when we were going through the exercise that we had to pay. Make sense? Like the juvenile thing, we had to pay that.
Yes.
So that, we didn't add that.
Right.
So things that we had to pay, we did that.
and I think for this budget, to fund the benefits the way they are today, you used the reserve benefit fund, didn't you?
Use part of it, yeah.
Okay,
which
so
is-
you didn't use the increase from valuations, you used the reserve fund that was already built into benefits. You just depleted it, right?
We
yeah.
didn't deplete it completely, but
Yeah.
it was 300 to 102.
No.
And then we took out the benefits of the two commissioners that were added in there that we.
You can only take out the insurance portion of the benefits because the capers automatically
No.
go, so I mean, you
No,
can't.
I always.
I declined capers.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we-
I thought that was
We
automatic.
determined what the budget was for the two new commissioners for benefits and took those out in addition to.
Okay.
It's 20-some thousand each.
And so does that bring some of the reserves back to benefits or no? Is it depleted?
It really needs to be recalculated because the social security and capers is based on what was requested. And so I would need to look at, I mean, what needs to be defined is if you're keeping everybody's wages at where they are today, then you would have to go in and say, okay, the sheriff has this many employees, these are their rates, and we do a projection of them not getting a raise. And so then I'd figure out, okay, here's my capers, here's my social security, here's whatever. And then I can go back in and put that number in. But I have to know, is he fully staffed? Is he not fully staffed? Is he got one built in? So that's where the detail's super important when we go to do budget and we don't get that. You're getting a single number that says, I need X. That could have a 3 or 5% increase in it and you wouldn't know it.
So who gave you this?
I don't think we have enough money for.
Who gave me what?
She
This
made
page
it.
12. Yeah, so how'd you get these
Of
now?
what?
Page 12.
They presented a budget, but it wasn't broken down. It's,
That's what, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're getting at.
yeah, it's not broken down. It used to be. It wasn't this year.
So the wages for law enforcement, for
Okay.
sheriff, they
Look.
actually,
Look, there's minus 189,000. This was just a preliminary piece. When Greg would
That's
communicate
capital
to
outlay,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, when he communicates to me, he says, okay, we're gonna take
That's the negative,
189
yeah.
out of that, but I'm not gonna make the decision of where that's coming from. Is it coming out of wages? Is it coming out of contractual? Is it coming out of commodities?
So the bottom line comes down for me when it comes to sheriff, what did he ask for?
Can I go get my stuff out of my
Yeah,
office?
please.
so the wages went up $117,000 in the sheriff's. It says that though.
Yeah.
Well, that's what she was trying to explain.
Here,
That there's-
this
there's three
section
different
says the
areas.
Sheriff is down 1 FTE. So that-
Right, so,
This budget
yeah, so
includes
that was,
hiring.
yeah, so that's what he was down, he's been down 1 FTE since last year.
That's how he gave the raises,
Yes,
and he was
ma'am.
staying down 1 FTE until he was able to get some more money in his
Right,
budget. He's
right.
trying to be responsible, I think.
Right, I agree, I
Yeah.
just, I apologize in advance for throwing a wrench in the monkey work, but I'm just like, I really need to take a
It's
look at
okay,
everything.
Sam.
I just really
Okay.
do.
Well, the monkey needs to be hit, so.
Well, like I said, I'm giving everybody fair warning, it's like, come 2027, 2028, I can't see, I mean, you tell me, Mr. Motley, you got a crystal ball that's better than mine. It's like, are we gonna be able to fund everything? I mean, cause I'm looking at everything that that I'm looking at all the requirements that the county has. Okay, and I'm like, there's, the one thing you and Carolyn said to me, and it's been sticking because it resonates so much because that's what we do in the military. You gotta have this 5-year plan. Make sense?
Yeah.
And we don't have it.
Right.
So when the clerk said what she said, I'm like, okay, well, all right, we do a reset year, and that gives us 12 months to figure out what we do in 2027, 2028. Make sense? And it has to be robust enough and detailed enough in a sense where we can hand it off. Because let's be honest, the three of us may or may not be here in 2028. Things change, things happen.
I can guarantee, no.
But, you know, so that the next commissioners can pick it up and just
Yeah.
go with it. Because I think part of
Gotta
the
leave it
problem,
better than you found it.
well,
Hope
yeah,
so.
but I think the problem with our constituents is we're raising taxes, and I don't see anything tangible that comes out of it. So we gotta do something about that.
He budgeted a 3% COLA.
What is a COLA, please?
Cost of living allowance.
Which
That's-
is something I want for everybody.
Right.
But in due time, like we said before, you can't solve every problem in year one.
The first budget that they sent had some errors in it, and so that's the second one that they sent. But his thing does say that it is department salary adjustments of $1.50 to $2.50, 3% COLA, and they request 2 vehicles using the county jail sales tax fund.
That's for next year. But I thought we did those raises a month or two ago.
Yeah, there was some done mid-year. I was told they were offset with revenue that was coming in.
I thought they were offset with an employee down, being an employee down.
Yeah, and revenue coming in, I think, because the inmate fund has gone up. The only problem with that is you can't depend on that money, you know, it may or may not.
That's why they're budgeting it this year.
But if they use that money and then it's not there another year and we don't have the money, then there will be layoffs.
Yeah, that's correct.
So do we touch the sheriff or we don't touch the sheriff?
May I see the one you're looking at? If
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
more detailed?
But of these numbers that are here on page 12, you don't know, you were saying, you were beginning to say, you don't know which one of those categories.
Right, to cut.
Yeah, because we don't know exactly how much.
Yeah. So if you add that plus the increase, there was a pretty good request of like $280-some thousand, I think, that they requested this year, which would take all of the increase that you're getting in assessed valuation.
So if the jail is finally starting
what
to
again?
help,
Wait, say that again?
or,
His request was for about 286,000 new money.
Right,
And if you do that, then that takes all of your increase in assessed valuation. You're naturally getting a little bit of an increase in income because of the assessed valuation going up.
Sure.
That would take all of it.
so that,
So that's why they backed it down. That's why that 189 is backed off. Saying, we'll give you a little bit, we can't give you all. And the other thing you have to keep in mind, you have $50,000, you have to budget this, it's for your liability insurance going up.
let me ask this, and
And we had 10,000 at EMS.
Mm-hmm.
We still have to
Yeah, that
factor that in. And then,
may I see your list, Jennifer? The one you had the paper written on it? The pencil, I'm sorry.
are you done with the other page? No.
So what I'm looking at.
that was the request? And that covered cars,
That was the lease car That was including that lease.
No, the lease, they wanted to do it out of the jail sales tax fund. Which in the past, with the past commission, it always, every 2 years, we had it scheduled out of that fund to buy 2 vehicles. Every 2 years, buying 2 vehicles to keep those replaced. But that's not sustainable, because once you pay off the bonds, that sales tax goes away. So you do have to figure out.
Well, I think that it was a good plan that they had. I just don't know timing.
Yeah.
There's not another way to fund it, and they're still gonna need cars, so
Yeah.
we're gonna have to keep funding it out of there.
That's where that strategic planning comes in.
Strategic.
Yeah. When was the last time this county did a comprehensive plan? Long
It
time.
hasn't been in the three years I've been coming to these meetings.
No, for sure. It's been long. It's been a long time since there's been a
So
strategic.
that's
plan.
something
I'm not
that
quite
needs-
sure how you make a strategic plan when you're using every bit of money that you have coming in.
Well, in the past, they were down to nothing. They were down to zero. And they did some very hard decisions. That's where employees were going, they were only working 35 hours a week, and, you know, they were making cuts like that. So it cut clear down into employment, to build up that 1.4 million that they built up, and they did. What you have to look at is there is some promising things hopefully coming, and that's the FEMA money. That will be a big relief in Public Works, huge relief.
And then we
if
won't
get
have
that.
to give them the piece of the mail we're giving them, we can,
Well, you wouldn't, it's just a
it
one-time,
back.
it's just a one-time.
right, but for 1 year, it'd just be like not having to carry Public Works for a
There's
year.
some things that's gotta get paid back
Yeah.
off of that FEMA
Yes,
money too.
yes. And we've got a massive bridge that you need to make a decision on that's gonna be very costly, on Old 54 Highway. It's on one of our bridges that has to be repaired.
And where's that
or-
at?
It's, just north of Hammond, just north of Hammond, the big one that goes over the
North of
railroad.
Fulton,
You mean Old 69?
Old 69, sorry, yeah, Old 69.
that goes over the railroad?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
You can
Yeah, I
either-
think we talked about
You can
that.
either take it
Yeah, I
down
remember
to
Jim and
railroad
them.
grade
I remember
or fix the
the
bridge.
former commission talking about that bridge, yeah.
It's bad. And they've tried to get, grants on it,
We need to keep trying,
yeah, the match, we just didn't have the match.
yeah.
But there's programs out there, you could do a state grant and match it with a federal grant. There's still programs out there now. They may get cut, but
So I think the sheriff is really trying to work with us this year. And I wish he came to this meeting, because I have to ask why, if the jail is helping offset, why we're gonna spend that rather than bring down the budget we already have. That would be ideal to me. Would you have any comments on that?
what you could do is transfer, if you wanna continue to fund the sheriff at the level that's in this budget, for this 1 year, you move $100,000 from the sales tax fund for operations. And then next year, you back that down to 50, and the next year you wean yourself completely off of it. But I wouldn't keep doing that. That's where we got into trouble to begin with. So you could do that and still allow him to have some breathing room to do some things. That's where he talks about, he lost the mill. He didn't really lose the mill, he just got the revenue from a different source.
Okay.
So,
But
that's
if
an
we,
option.
if we moved that 100,000 from there, it would actually be a better option for us, because we're
Yes.
gonna give the money either way. It would be ideal for us to give it out of that account and put the money from the mill in the general account for reserves,
yes,
in case we needed it.
yes.
but we wouldn't wanna be fingers on either, so we need to act like it's not there.
Well, what you gotta probably do is levy for it in the general fund and have it as a transfer into a capital improvement fund or a capital. I mean, if you have it in reserves, you don't really ever see it in a budget line. It's just sitting down at the bottom as a reserve.
Just like the reserves were in the benefits. And I see a lot of the departments have their own
To be
reserve.
quite honest, it's better to keep it in your employee benefit fund. That's
Because
the
you'd have
best
to
way.
transfer it out to use it.
Yep.
Okay, why the employee benefits reserve versus the general fund reserve?
It's more hidden,
It's not hidden,
but it's
It's more-
more hands-off. You
Yes.
wouldn't see it as something you could use.
yes. You're not gonna see it in your cash flow, you're gonna see it in the cash flow and the employee benefit. Someone's gonna have to come to you and say, I need this, and you say, okay, we can make a transfer from employee benefits to the general fund to spend it.
To me, that's just discipline.
Yes, we would have to be
That-
fingers off.
I agree.
That to me is just plain
You're right.
discipline. I'm like, if it's in a general fund, you know, it would take a majority of vote of 5 to spend that money.
Yes.
When your bonds are looked at, when you have to go through a bond issue and they do the call, and it's usually Standard & Poor's that will call in, and they talk about lots of different things with you. They'll talk about your economics of your community. They talk about, is any industry looking at leaving, or do you have any industry coming in? They'll ask you questions, and they always focus in on the general fund. They always want to see money there. And the rule of thumb, most auditors will tell you this, is 3 months of operating, always, at all times. And how you get to that number is you take what the general fund expenses are, which for
What page, please?
page 6. And let's just use 2024 numbers. Our expenditures in 2024 were $2,949,380. Divide that by 12 times 3. That's $737,000. That's what you should have sitting in that fund. 3
How
months
much?
up.
7?
737,000.
Do you know what we have in it right now?
You're projected to have,
At the end of the-
$128,700.
at the End of December. What is it? What?
$128,700.
And how much is in the benefit fund reserve that we could move over to make it look better?
hang on just a second. That's for 26. For 25, we have to hit the target of 397,000.
What do you mean have to?
If you don't hit that target, because how the budget document works, go to page 6. Yeah, you're going to look at 2 different pages. Honestly, let's go to a different fund, because the general fund is it's on 2 pages. So let me get to a fund.
Well, I have 2 documents, so I can open up.
So
both.
we're projected to have 396,000 in the general fund at the end of this year. And if we moved over what we have reserved in the benefits fund, which is around 300,000, we'd be.
No, because let me explain this. Okay. So the budget document, if you look at the top column up here,
Okay.
your cash carryover from the previous year, which is
What page are you on?
6 and 6A.
Okay, all right, I got it.
Okay, so on page 6, the top column, current estimate for year 2025, 381,929. That says unencumbered cash. That number comes from page 6A at the very bottom of prior year actual 24, unencumbered cash. Okay, so that number gets carried over into the next year.
So that's where you get the 397.
They want to make sure you're not depleting your checkbook.
Yes.
They want to make sure you're
So if
not spending more than you're making.
So at the end of the year, when I start saying, hey, we need to cut, or we're not gonna hit our target, that will tell you automatically, if you don't have this 397 to carry over for the next year, then you have to cut your budget by the amount that you didn't carry over
Cut.
because it's calculated into your levy.
What do you mean by cut? Lay off for the last 2 months of the year?
Yep.
You
Or
mean
Draw
something- or
unemployment and then go
something
back to
else,
work in
yeah.
January?
Right now, you don't even have your bonuses or your longevity. It's not built into this budget. They will not get it this
For
year.
2025? Well, we didn't do that.
Yeah, no, you didn't. Now, if you don't have a murder trial,
Yeah.
you
Well,
could use those dollars.
What, so they usually do bonuses?
If we don't cut property tax, there's probably gonna be a public hanging. Here's your, hand her the paper
Funny.
back.
So what is the bonuses usually amount to every year?
About 55,
$5,500?
no, 55,000.
So what,
Because it's based on years of service.
what comes out of the checks that says longevity?
What do you mean?
When I'm looking at payroll.
Oh, that's a different longevity that they put in years ago. You get $1.25 for so many years of
Right.
whatever.
I mean, I know the amounts
Yeah,
were,
yeah.
you know, but
Yeah,
I
that's
figured
what that
over a
is.
year, I didn't, okay, so
When-
the big bonus is at
Yeah,
the
when
end.
Dr. Cohen starts doing the salary schedules, I would recommend that you take that longevity amount and throw it in there and have a step approach where you have your categories and your cost of living. I've done one salary schedule kind of like this, where every year that you work for the county is a step across. And then your incentive is, here are the jobs and the values of these jobs. And if you want to get to those jobs, you have to get certifications, you have to, you know, there's different things that you may need to do.
So we're giving bonuses with absolutely no way of measuring it.
It's a longevity bonus. So they've been here years, 20 years.
How many
Is it
people have been
capped
here
at
20
20?
years?
You have three?
28.
So between 3 people, we spend $55,000
Oh, no.
on a bonus?
No. The first 5 years, you only get $100. 5 years and up, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, you get your years of service. So you get $100 for every year of service. So if I've been here 10 years, right, I'm gonna get $1,000.
That's your bonus.
That's my bonus. And they
If
did it
you've
for
been here
longevity.
30 years, you're
Yeah.
gonna get 3,000.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's just it's something to say thank you for all your years of
What
service.
budget does that go into?
General fund.
So we're not even budgeting that.
We didn't budget it this year.
Because what I'm getting at, it should
I
be.
mean, it really should be in every department's
Yeah, it should be
own
its
budget.
own line
Now, the
item.
last 2 years, they've had enough budget left in their budgets, and so that we didn't do the journal entry to move it back to the general fund, we just left it where it was.
Did we ever, at any time in the county, did we have step increases? None.
None.
You
Or
did,
COLA.
no, you never, there was never evaluations done, there was never,
See, that's the whole thing with Dr. Cohen, Commissioner Melbourne. It's just like, I really, really would like to see something out there that's more structured.
but even evaluation, and I think, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, even evaluation is based on the perspective of the person doing the valuation.
Yeah, but again, it's
It's
you have
also
to.
based on your ability to pay them for their good evaluation.
Well, the
don't
thing,
know
the whole
that.
system
what?
has, the whole thing has to be objective. And you have
Yes.
to have measurable, and articulable points within their performance plan. Make sense? So it's like, if they get a 3, it's a 3. It's average. You're average. Thanks for doing your job.
But if they get a 2, there should be
A PIP or a
disciplinary
patch.
action.
Exactly. If they
that
get a
backs it
2,
up.
then you need to be doing some type of administrative process, not to fire the individual, but to help the individual
Should be
get
able-
up to a 3. Make sense?
Excellent.
The goal is to get a 3. Now, if you got somebody who's a hard charger, high speed, low drag, and that person's a 4, then
You should be having
then-
attaboys.
Yes, and if that person walks on water, it's a 5.
Eh,
Make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, is like, but we don't have that in the county.
And
But
then-
we're giving away, so, and no offense to people who've been here 30 years, but for somebody who's seeing this for the first time, all I gotta do is just show up for work, punch a time card, do my job, shut up, don't cause no problems. in 30 years, I get $3,000 bonus at the end of the year. That's
But-
what I'm hearing.
But for 10 or 15 years, they may have never gotten a raise.
That, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I mean, and I'm not trying, all those out there in the world, I'm not trying to besmirch anybody. I'm trying to
Well, I
understand.
don't think there's 10 or 15 years, because 10 or 15 years ago, there, a lot of,
We
we'd
just
still be
moved-
under $10 an hour here, so.
We just moved people from making $12 to $13 an hour to $15 an hour last year.
So
That's
there have
nuts.
been raises, though.
But that's nuts. I mean, that's,
I mean,
that's.
I'm just
That's
saying,
not
it's
even a
not 10 or
livable,
15 years.
that's not a livable
But
amount
because-
for
but
a single
the
mom.
reason I hear what you're saying, and I understand what she's saying too, because I overheard a conversation about somebody who's quitting one of the business here in town because his spouse happens to make more money flipping burgers than what he was doing. And I was thinking to myself, the individual has a technical job. Like it requires technical skills, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying people who flip burgers don't have that. That's what I'm saying. But the guy's giving up this job to go make burgers. Make sense? And I'm just like, wow, so it's a lot to digest, guys.
Well, and on the deal about evaluations and what you're saying is, you know, the person evaluating them, you have to train those evaluators
Yes.
too. When you got supervision, you have to have supervision that is getting that position because they have the skill level, the education, and the knowledge to get them to there, not somebody that just because somebody knew somebody and they got promoted because of that. So I'll just leave it at that. But, because I mean, the evaluation system that you're just talking about is the exact same one that I did for 32 years in the military as well. And it is based off of, but
But
you
it
know,
is
it
objective.
has its checks and balances.
Right.
You can't,
Right.
you know, if you got a guy and it's a good old boy system, and I'm not saying in the National Guard that doesn't happen, but, you know, there's ways, you know, those guys get caught pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because, you know, part of that is some other things that are tangibles that you can't lie your way out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I just-
as much as I tried, you can't lie your way out of your weight. You know, you can't lie your way out of the fact that you can't run 2 miles as fast as you did 10 years ago. So, you know, those things are built in. So, I mean, having an evaluation program does have merit.
I think right now, for me, I have no desire to change anything other than the fact that if we're gonna continue down the road of giving people longevity bonuses, that's great. That's fantastic.
I think it is,
But we
sir.
need to budget that and
Yeah.
not have it come out of the general fund.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Not trying
And
to figure out
that
whether or
can be
not we're
done.
gonna have a murder trial at
That's,
the end of the year.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is, that's because,
And if you do the evaluation side of things, if that's the way we're going, what I would ask as a department head, as an elected official, is let us be a part of that process. If you get buy-in, it'll be more successful.
sure.
Well, I
agree.
think it's gotta be everybody. It can't
Yeah.
just be,
Right.
just 3 people or 5 people
Right.
next year. I mean, it has to be every department or every elected official because everybody's got the way they're gonna run their department. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it includes them all. Yes, sir.
I'll go into the queue, or are you?
Yeah,
am I
go
recognized?
ahead, go ahead.
How are you going to do the 911 with, and I don't know how to say this other than just flat out say it. Tuesday night, the city commission said, you give us asphalt or we're giving you the entire 911.
911 and asphalt are not connected, and I made that clear.
But
They're,
how are
they're
you
not,
gonna budget for that? Because in their minds, if you don't provide them asphalt, they're gonna give you that 650, whatever.
then I
thousand.
guess we will take the extra 2.5 mil that we declared and we'll make it work.
Okay, I'm just, that's what you'll have to plug in.
2 and what?
Doctor.
We declared we might go up to
Oh.
62.5, and if they do
Okay.
that, then that is what we will do.
I look at it different, but go ahead.
There is
You're-
no different way.
Hang on,
To me, that whole thing, and this is a terrible word, but to use your euphemism, Mr. Hoy,
What did I say now?
you just I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah,
It's extortion.
it is extortion.
That's all it is. It's tantamount to extortion. I'm just like, I'm not doing, we We're not gonna do anything like that to somebody else.
You heard it.
Yeah, I heard it.
I was there.
Yeah, I heard it.
That's what
I,
they
the
said.
minute it was said, I was just,
And I'm gonna go, you know, into saying, just like what I was saying yesterday, you know, we are all of the same county.
right.
City is, got their job to do, and the people are paying their taxes for that. If the taxpayers of this city want their elected officials to conduct their business in the manner that is being described, then they'll continue to elect those same individuals. If they don't, then they're gonna say, well, we're not gonna stand for that. It's the same thing what we're doing here, is we're trying to change the culture of how this county, how this board is being perceived by its taxpayers.
I understand all that.
Right, yeah, so I'm saying is that what I would do is I would honor the I'm sorry, what I would do is my plan all along is to help them try to get their asphalt done, and then we renegotiate our agreement with them going into next year. So if they tie it on to 911, right now, I'm saying I was already going to try to work with them anyway. So it's not like I'm giving them something that I wasn't gonna give them. And to take a hard line, then we're no better, we're not better than what they're trying to do to us.
Who's taking a
So-
hard line here? Because alls I'm saying is, how about 911 be its thing, and the asphalt agreement can be its thing? It don't need to be a meshed thing.
And what you're saying is that if they drop it on us, then we're going to punish our taxpayers.
No, we're not. We're
on
gonna
two and
pay
a
for it
half
the only
mils.
way possible. We're gonna pay for it the only way possible.
How are we punishing the people?
Because right now, we got a workable deal with the city that we can work this out, and they pay
Okay.
their portion of it for the next 2 years, or even right now, they're going back, the city manager's going back, and he's possibly working out a possible deal where they're gonna keep it for next year, and then we're going to take it over in 2027, so it gives us a whole year to work on it.
Listen, all parties in this situation need to tone down the hyperbole. It's that simple.
Thank you.
Okay, we just need to tone it down, because nowhere in any of this conversation am I anti-Fort Scott. Okay, nowhere have I said that. From the very beginning, and I have not changed my tone on anything, is I will not make a knee-jerk decision on anything that requires money in this county. Okay, I need to see all the facts, I need to see everything. I'm still gathering information. In my head, I am gonna help out the city. I have no problem with that. But to come in and say, you either honor the interlocal or we dump 911, that's how I took it. Did you take it that way? Some people in the gallery took it that way. So my thing is like, I didn't say that, okay? I'm not saying, it
What I
felt very,
heard-
it felt bad.
What I heard,
Okay.
let me try to articulate what I heard. I did not watch it. Somebody told me to watch the last few minutes, and what I heard was, we have decided to give the city manager authority to negotiate a deal with Bourbon County to take our $350,000 and provide us asphalt. And if he don't get it done, then we're not paying 911 anymore, starting in 2026. That's, don't quote me, but that's pretty close to what was said and how it was
Something-
said. Is that pretty
something-
close, Michael?
It was pretty close. And please allow me
And so-
to say this. I didn't bring this up.
Well, hang on,
to-
time. I want you to speak, but I want you to speak on microphone, please. Man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep. If we're allowing him to talk, might as well bring him up to the.
I didn't bring this up to
Is your
bash.
mic on?
It's on. I didn't bring this up to bash the city. I'm bringing this up because you have a midnight Monday deadline that has to be plugged, that number has to be plugged in here. That's the only reason I brought it up. How are we gonna do that?
Well, then, if we don't know if we're gonna get the whole thing, if we don't know if we're gonna get the 350,000 and we're gonna take it on completely, if we don't know that, then we'll have to just say it's gonna take the 62.5 that we declared.
So
Because we'll have
unless,
to cover the whole thing.
yeah, so unless the city has a, special meeting over the weekend.
And, I'm
or
sorry, Michael,
Monday.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but if we do take on that whole thing and we do the 62.5, then I would expect Fort Scott would drop their mill by that much, so.
You can publish the budget at the 62.5, and at the night of the budget hearing, you can drop it.
So worst case scenario, we're gonna be 62.5 and carrying all of 911. And then we'll have to take a little bit out of our reserves because I don't think it'll cover it all.
And then hope for a resolution.
We got 200,000 budgeted for 911 now. Okay, and we're at 59, so if we go another 3 mills back up to the 62.5, what is that, 400,000? Yeah,
So it
so
still
we're right
won't cover
around
it.
6,
We'll
we're
use
close.
reserves.
230,000.
We're
Not
close.
bad.
Okay.
And really, like I said from the beginning, it wouldn't be unfair. It would only be unfair if City of Fort Scott didn't drop their mill to their people, because then they would still be paying what they paid last year, plus they'd be paying the increase we're putting on there, because they're getting ours either way.
I didn't watch their meeting, so I don't have the same.
The only thing that I would say is unfair is they've always said it's a 60-40 split.
Well, they're gonna pay
Yeah, it was
for it either way.
57-43 on
It don't
the
matter, Michael,
on the
because
call
whatever it
ratio
was.
last
So
year,
that's
I
the way,
think.
that's the fair way to do it. Leave the asphalt over here.
That's
I
my
know.
point.
And the fact that
That's
there's,
my point from the beginning, leave the asphalt out
yeah,
of it.
the fact that
Right.
there is commissioners over there that are willing to do that. Again, I think that, leave that to the voters.
Well, but
They do.
then
If we raise ours, they're gonna
we
still
got a
pay for
Monday
it,
night
but that's the
deadline to
same
put a number in
percentages
there,
they
so.
Okay, yeah, let's let this
People-
conversation carry on while we,
Okay, I'm done.
Commissioner,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyt.
thank you, Mr. Hoyt.
if you want me to, I can.
Go ahead. I'm trying, I'm trying.
I think what she's trying to say, and I said this in another meeting, is you don't want to double tax people in the city of Fort Scott. So she's saying if they give us a contribution, then you are taxing them at the city level and you're taxing them at the county level. Now, if it's to pay for a portion of it, you're not having to raise the mill as high, so, but those city people are still paying that county tax too.
So
they're-
the best option would be for EMS,
take it all.
or 911 to be a tax levied entity anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's, it's being taxed, and the taxpayers are paying for it one time, not,
Right.
And what you
Several
would see is
times.
you would see a shift. You would see our mill go up and you would see the city mill go down. Essentially, that's what you would hope to see.
And theirs should
but
go
that
down
may
pretty
not be what you see. I
significantly.
mean, you can't guarantee that
I mean,
any
theirs should
more
go
than-
down pretty significantly.
Huh?
Theirs should go down pretty significantly.
Right.
If we took it.
Yes.
But they would still get it, because you see here on this city, statement, they're still paying $59.84 on the county, which is what the county is.
I don't remember what their assessed valuation is, but the value of a mill is a lot lower than, it's like 59 million.
Yeah, something like that.
59, so 59,000 is what one mill is valued at for them. So they've got 600, can I use your calculator?
Maybe it was 61.
61. Okay, we'll give them benefit of the doubt. That would be almost 10 mills,
On what?
9.8 mills
That
For
they could
what?
drop.
that they could drop.
Off of 300,000?
That's what I'm thinking. It's like they would use it somewhere. But again, I'm speaking out of turn. Well, the thing about the asphalt, I heard it on the radio this morning, was the projection was like, it was like, don't quote me, the high number was like $100,000 a mile. But if they got asphalt from us, it came out to like 28, 32, somewhere around there, a mile. Which I thought, okay. I'm not sure where that number was, but it was on the radio this morning as I was driving to work.
Was that the,
But I think that's only raw material, that's not labor. I can't see somebody producing a mile worth of
I can't see
paved
it being
road for,
5 times that much
to buy it off it.
pick it up
No,
somewhere
that's-
else
yeah.
and bring it in and.
I don't know.
So if the decision's not in our hands, then we have to project the worst-case scenario, in my opinion. I know that's against the budget committee's advice, but if we do not, then what do we do if they say, sorry, your problem, not ours?
Number 1 rule for Bourbon County, or for county commissioners, that's
What's
what we
that?
do.
What's the number one
I'll
rule?
tell you.
We can't wait
Huh?
We can't wait until we reelect.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Go ahead, sir.
and I understand the emotion behind the blackmail, but that is so common in government,
Sure,
so common.
Oh, my
sure,
God.
At all levels of government.
Right.
Just even in western Kansas, all the aquifer.
I don't think the
water,
extortion would hold up
Nebraska
in
water
court.
coming down to Canada.
Well, I
There's
don't-
negotiations there.
yeah.
I just don't think they're the same thing. They're two totally separate things. So let's talk about them in two totally
Hang-
separate
hang on, guys.
conversations.
Listen.
Hang on, guys.
Sorry, Greg.
The tariff that Trump put on Mexico was because of fentanyl. Nothing to do with trade, right?
Right,
So countries and counties and cities use leverage.
right.
So all I'm saying is, let's focus on, let's not get emotional, let's focus on
Right.
what's best for the taxpayer. And if that's negotiating with the city on this, because it's
I
best
agree.
for the taxpayers, we just gotta devoid ourselves of emotion.
And
Right.
if that is the case, Greg, what's very best for the taxpayers, for the city to keep it, and us give them a
But-
larger contribution because their insurance does not cost near as much as ours.
But we're not talking about.
So we're saving
not-
actual dollars.
We're not negotiating with the taxpayers, we're negotiating with the city.
Yeah, but she's
Yeah.
right.
I'm not
I mean,
talking
what we
about-
talked
Yeah.
about, the best solution is the city to keep it, and we pay the city.
Yeah,
That's-
and that was
that's
what
the
city
taxpayers.
managers take them back to them.
Yeah. But we won't have that, as Michael said, we won't have that information Monday.
Yeah, and that's what,
Yeah.
that's where this all started. He's saying,
So
let's
Mike is
declare
right.
worst case
You
scenario.
Yeah.
kind of have to plan for the worst case scenario.
So would you guys be available for a work session during the day on Monday?
I don't think so. Well,
Can we
like,
do
I
it-
could do it
starting at
3:40.
3?
Yeah, 3, yeah, do that.
That's gonna be tight for me.
Three.
Can you do 4?
3:40.
Oh, because we got the meeting at 5:30.
Well, it'd be an hour and a half. That'll give you a chance.
But it would
But
give
we
you an
won't
opportunity
know-
to sit
we
here
won't
and
know
really
anything
pound through
unless
numbers
they
and
do a
change
special
things
meeting.
and really
Can
talk
we do it at
through.
4?
What are we doing the special meeting for?
No, just
No,
a
it's a
work
work-
session,
Work
so
session.
Oh,
you
work
can work
session.
through this budget document and really talk through it.
If you can give me those documents Sunday, I will look through them and I will definitely be, that's what, I want to be prepared. That's why I haven't said too much.
The unknown is 911, and that's what's really
Mm-hmm.
scary. And I know that's all I talked about yesterday, and that's all I'm talking about today. That's a lot of money.
I just wish it would have come up at,
Before we declared the mill,
yeah.
that's what I wish.
Or actually come up,
Would've
in
liked.
January?
Well, I mean, okay, so to be fair to the city and to the county, this year's been hell.
Yeah.
They're trying to fix their side of the fence, we're trying to fix our side of the fence. And when I'm looking at both entities, I'm like, we had a lot of changes since I came on board. They've done a lot of changes this year too, so it's like, it's just, there's just something about 2025, and I'd much rather work with them moving forward.
We had a joint work session with them in the first part of the year, and they mentioned it then about 911, but we did not get into where we're at now, as at that level.
Yeah.
I mean, they said then that they understood that they felt that our portion should be around 300,000, but they understood because of our financial state, and that was kind of where it was left. But I did not, why we waited 4 more months or 5 more months to determine that they were ready to pass it on.
That was never
So-
really fair for their citizens, so maybe they shouldn't have been so understanding. Just saying.
Well, I don't know, how long have they had 911?
I don't know.
Since 1990. Because that's when we got 911. I was the lead dispatcher, and the city has always had it. So it's never been the county's. Just saying.
And I think this is one of those situations where it's very important that moving forward, the 3 of us, the 5 of us, whatever, moving forward, we swim our lanes. We don't swim somebody else's lane. We don't allow them in our lane. Make sense? Because you have to delineate the responsibility. The fact that you had this gerrymandering of IT, you had the gerrymandering of the 911, and there's something else that's going to come up on Monday too. That's like, how that get in that lane? And I won't give that away until Monday. But the thing is, like, we need to swim our lane. We need to tell people to swim their lane. Make sense? Because if it's ours, like in my head, if 911 actually belong, and I hear what Mr. Waite's saying, it's cost effective to let the city handle it and we pay them, I get it. But if ultimately it's our responsibility, rip the Band-Aid off and it's our responsibility. It's a state statute, is it not? You guys have been telling me that.
Yeah,
It's a state
and it
statute.
was back in 1990. It's
Yeah.
just the county handed it over to the city then.
And I don't know why they did it, but the
Well,
point
because
is,
the city managed the
The
dispatch
dispatcher.
center.
You had a lot smaller sheriff's department at that time too,
It
didn't
was
you?
about 4 deputies,
Yeah.
4 or 5 deputies.
That's probably a lot of it.
Yeah.
so again, you know.
It was a different entity back
Yeah.
then, yeah. I mean, dispatch started out over here in this little room with 2 car radios and a phone with 6 lines on it. And a phone that rang into the fire department on a red phone that you picked up and listened. You didn't talk, you just listened to the fire department talk to people. So then we migrated into, what we have now, which is a lot more complicated system and a lot more cost of, that go along with it, so, yes.
Do they fall under the mandate of funding, like the sheriff and the district court? So they don't have the power of the writ of mandamus?
You're talking about, who are you talking about? Which one?
The dispatch, you know how
Oh.
the state statute says we have to fund 3 entities within the county?
Well, I mean, what are you gonna
Dispatch,
do
not one of
without
them.
dispatch? That'd be
I-
pretty bad.
it's-
It's not mandated.
Right.
Well, you would,
I mean, it's a big shock after 35 years that you just come up in a month and say, take it or, do this or, we're walking away from it. And I understand cost, but I also understand, the service that you're providing to the community, you just can't shut it down.
that would definitely
That's
hurt
one
everybody.
vital contact to this community that can't not go away, period.
yeah, I see that as an essential function of the county, and if they say we're not paying for it no more, then by golly, we'll pick it up, but we need that 62.5 mils to do so. A little more, actually, but we didn't know.
There's ways to.
I think we need to look
Okay.
into more of the nuts and bolts of what is carried by the statute as to what is provided in a 911 center and the overall function of what this one does for the community for both county and city. Because again, we have a ratio of calls 57 to 43, but also there is other numbers, other phones that are being answered that have nothing to do with 911.
There are?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's non-emergency phones that get answered in there.
Oh,
I call it not.
I've called and said, this is not an emergency, but I don't know who else to call. Can you please tell me who to call?
I call and tell them the light's not working.
But I mean, if you
Third
call,
Street.
if you call
'Cause they do
223-1700, you get.
If you call
get-
911, the first thing
you
they'll
get
say
the
is, is this
dispatch center
emergency?
for the police
And if
department.
it's not, they won't take your call,
Yeah,
and they'll route you somewhere else.
yeah.
It's a
But
different
if you
line.
call 223-1440, I
is
mean,
there a call center?
yeah, basically.
Well,
So
it's
is the
only
clerk-
emergency.
So is the clerk's office.
Sorry about that.
Right, Jennifer?
So all the calls that come into the courthouse go straight to that office?
Yep.
Yeah, no.
So, just again, in defense of
It's been here a long time.
this commission and their
Ah.
commission, it's all being driven by budget deadline. They're trying to do their budget, so they're driving the asphalt.
Sure.
And I don't know why I don't know where we're at on the asphalt. I mean, I thought, up until the other day, I thought we were working out a solution with our public works people to try to get them
Okay.
asphalt, and
So
then all of a
since we're gonna
sudden,
talk about it,
we're
I'll
getting an
talk about it.
ultimatum.
But-
I'm
Yeah.
just trying.
You want me to talk about it
No,
too?
yeah, you're more than welcome to chime in, but here's the deal. We're August, middle of August. We have not laid one patch of asphalt. Okay? We're in the middle of August. Nobody from the city came to the county when you and Brandon and Leroy were here. Did anybody from the city come to the county and say, I need 2,300 tons of asphalt?
No.
Okay, so we're in the middle of August.
And they're saying they need 2,300 tons?
Yes.
Yes, so we're in the middle of August. We've had people leave. At one point, a month ago, we didn't even have an asphalt crew.
Right.
They were gone, okay? So, or they were pending. it wasn't working. Nobody was doing asphalt.
Pending.
We got the team back. It's a new team, the same leader, but slightly new. When they went to go work on it, lightning struck it. So they spent the last, 2 weeks trying to fix it. It's back up. They did asphalt today. The problem with it is, and you know this just as well as I do, when you got a new team together, you got to make sure that they can produce, right? So we're asking this team to produce, not only for us, but for the city. We're not sure yet if we could do that. Now, can we do it? Yes, we can do it, okay? But can we do it now? We can't do it now. We need at least 2 to 3 weeks to flush out all the nuances. Now, does that still give the city time to do their asphalt? Yes, because they can asphalt all the way up until November. As long as it's 40 and rising, they can do it.
One more thing that I may add to that is that we were asked very specifically by Eric, how much rock do you want me to crush for asphalt? And we told him, just crush enough to do what our asphalt plan is.
That's what Eric told
And he
me.
said, do you want me to crush extra? And we did not have him crush extra. So he
When was
crushed.
this?
Earlier
Since
in the
I've
year.
worked here.
Early in the year when I went, I'm sorry.
So
When I-
we didn't crush extra. We crushed enough to do our asphalt plan that he presented to us at the table. And then he moved the crusher to another quarry that has clay in its rock. He cannot crush asphalt rock from that quarry.
Okay. I'm trying to, because I don't remember sitting at this table telling him to crush just enough rock. When the city come on board
They
with
asked
this,
after he,
moved
they
the
asked after
crusher?
that, yes. They asked after. That's what I'm saying, that they'll.
Because I don't remember, I remember the night that Brad came here and they talked, and we did not have a public works representative here.
The
Neither
discussion
number
about how
one or
much
number
rock was
two.
well before that.
Yeah, well, neither one or two was here, and then that was what my understanding was, is that the liaison, you, were going to go talk to those public work officials and say yay or nay, so that we could give that answer to Brad. And then I never heard any more about it until now we're getting an ultimatum with, you know,
If there was, if.
play ball or
if-
don't.
Yeah, if somebody would've told me from the very beginning, hey, here's the ultimatum. I would've told Eric, make a decision. Make sense? I don't direct him, but I would've said, you better make a decision.
It would have been real nice to
Yes.
know that they wanted that much when Eric
So
was
if
asking
this
how
is-
much rock to crush. We
If this
didn't
is
know at
gonna
that
be-
time, this is not on
But
us.
If this is gonna be the
But
way,
we didn't even know that we were going to be able to finish our asphalt. So to have us crush all that we were going to do.
We didn't give him orders to crush extra. That's the thing.
so my thing is moving into 2026. I wanna work with the city, but the city has to give me a number that I can feed to Public Works and say, not only do you have to produce for your projected paving next year, but you're gonna have to produce enough for the city's projected paving.
Yeah, well, I believe that we definitely need to have something worked out. And I mean, I think that's when we get back into that agreement, and then we set it up and we make it a lot more detailed than what it was before.
Right.
And, you know, we keep the line of that communication open, because that's where this is all breaking down, is
I agree.
communication, and not just on their part, but on our part too, because we moved equipment without, when we knew that we were gonna crush rock for them, we just didn't know how much, but so we still moved the equipment.
Bro, you cannot micromanage a public works director. He's going to do what he needs to do to take the.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
Just
what
a
you
few
had to
minutes
say.
ago,
I didn't hear, wait, what did you say?
I said, if you knew you were gonna crush rock for the city, you shouldn't move
the
equipment.
city-
No, he
didn't-
didn't know that. He didn't
yeah.
know that. He asked.
How far back have we been talking about?
The rock?
The city
While
had been
back.
talking
No,
about.
I don't know about them, but
Oh, no.
it was a while back that,
This is-
Okay, I'm not gonna argue about it, and I don't wanna get it into a big old, you know, timeline thing on this. What I'm basically saying is that moving forward, there has to be communication.
I agree, but let me ask you this question here. In January, did anybody come to you from any other entity other than the county saying they need asphalt from
They
us?
said, in our joint session, they said they were researching the possibility that they were gonna do their own
Okay.
asphalt, but they had not gone anywhere. And sitting in that meeting was our Public Works Director.
Okay, but
Okay,
was-
so let me finish. So, and, you know, I did not, you know, the last I knew that we were still in the process of getting rock crushed, but we didn't even know if we had a team available, you know, because I didn't get no updates from the fact that we didn't know if we were even sure that we were gonna do it, because we both had mentioned, well, why don't we freeze asphalting for this year and carry it over to next year, and then we find out, well, budget in the asphalt, which I did not see in the 2025 budget, where it said wages there were any wages in that sales tax for Public Works. It was all in the Public Works deal. But if we were gonna have to lay people off because we didn't asphalt, because we didn't have money to pay for them if we didn't use that tax money. So I'm getting information from all kinds of different sources, but the bottom line is that we weren't even sure we had, you know, we had a truck that was in the shop. We weren't sure that we were even gonna be able to crush rock. We weren't even sure that we even had the sources to do it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we crush all that we need and we move our piece of equipment.
What they crushed
So, I
was-
mean, I'm not questioning what he's doing. I'm just saying what it looks like to me on the outside. And then then it takes a big effort to move the machinery back, you know, and if he'd already moved it, somebody needed to tell the city then, hey, we can't crush rock for you because we don't have the equipment there. We don't have the resources there to do it. But we
said
told
that.
them that there was a possibility that we could meet their needs. When Brad came here the first time.
David,
Who's we?
during the tour, there was piles of rocks already crushed. I believe those were done from last year for this year. Make sense? Because everything you said dovetails. There was equipment that was down, people were leaving, we weren't sure we could do it. All of a sudden, everything got put back together, and the equipment, you know, failed again. We fixed that. Now we're moving forward with it. Okay? The first time I ever heard about making asphalt for the city was when Brad came in.
Right.
That's the first time I've
So
heard
we
of it.
were already crushed and moved
For
on.
us, yeah.
Yeah.
For us.
Prior to him
Yeah,
doing
For
that.
us,
Yes.
right.
So we went from 0 to full-blown capabilities within a matter of a couple of weeks. It
No.
wasn't that long before Brad came here
No.
May I?
that we were told that we couldn't do
I
it.
think he crushed it with the hope that he would have everything fixed.
Okay.
Gotta have
Well,
the-
we're just,
Sure.
we're arguing over nothing, really. I
No.
mean, because,
I'm really-
you're the liaison, so you had information that I didn't have, and apparently she got information,
Right.
because
Well,
I'm
I
the
called
only one
and
sitting
asked.
in,
Time.
I'm the only one sitting in the dark
Time,
here.
just time for a
so.
second, time. It's clearly not about the asphalt, okay? So, why are you upset?
No, it is about the asphalt. It's about the fact that we had the city come and the guy sat right there and we told him, we think we can do this for you. When now you're telling me that we already had what we had done and the equipment was gone, so we really should have told him right then, we can't do
No,
do
it's-
this for you. Hang on, let me finish. We can't do this for you because it boils down to is now they're coming out saying if you don't do this, we're gonna hand this over
That,
to you.
that is a totally different subject.
No,
That-
it's
that
not.
whole
It's
thing-
still based off of the asphalt.
May I?
Go ahead.
I never told him we could for sure do that. I always said, please let me check. I gotta see how much they did, rock they crushed, see if they have the resources or materials.
Right, that's
always
exactly what I
said that from
said.
the beginning. I always said,
I'll have
just
to
please
go
let
back
me
and
check.
watch the
David,
meeting,
you wanted it, and I'm not picking on you, I'm not pointing. You wanted it from day one. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem supporting you, okay? But I'm not gonna go out, put my neck on the line until I talk to the functional experts. They're the ones who's gonna produce it, they're the ones who's gonna make the product, and the thing is, until I get a clear, decisive answer from them, I can't go and go tell you to go tell Brad or whoever else that, hey, we can do this.
Okay, so when Brad came in here,
So what I'm telling you right now, the word I got this morning is, they made asphalt, they laid some asphalt, but they're gonna need 2 to 3 weeks to figure out and fine tune everything, and they're asking that the city hold off for another 2 to 3 weeks until they get everything. That's what it was told to me this morning. Okay?
Okay.
Now, am I saying that we can produce from them? I said, we hope to produce for you, let's see what happens, but right now, that's what they're telling me.
And I think one of the problems that we're looking at is that Brad went around the commission and spoke directly to Dustin.
Well, and when he came to the table, he did.
Well, you don't do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
You've been in the military, you never undermine that person's authority. You don't go around him. I don't
And
go
that's
talk
what
to
I said.
I don't go to your troops.
That's what I said that
So-
day, is I said, when he
so-
said that he had talked to Dustin, you said, I looked right at you and said, he needs to talk to you. You're the liaison. So you and Brad should have been working it out from that point on. And you said you would go talk to
And I
those
did.
guys.
I got my information from Eric, and some of it came before Brad ever asked, just because I was trying to find out, what we were gonna do with our plans moving forward. I was very worried, and I wanted to know what we could do, because that asphalt's very important to us, because if we don't lay it, we don't pull money from that account. So I've stayed on this. I've not let it go. Okay, and so it's very important to me that we lay our asphalt plan, that we can pull the money out of that sales tax fund, that we need to pull out of that sales tax fund. It's very important. It's very important to everybody. And so I have stayed on it, and that's why I'm in the loop. Because I asked Eric. Now, Brad asked Dustin, and Dustin had a different opinion than Eric. And so I believe that's where we're at right now.
Lack of communication. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we're just beating the dead.
Well, I think
we're
that-
beating this
I don't-
dead horse.
I think it's
so-
also, look, personally, I think it's also, our people need top cover. They need leadership that's in sync with each other. And I think what's happening right now is we're not in sync. We may disagree and we will agree to disagree, but when it comes to the people, the rank and file people in the field, we need to have their back and we need to be there for them. And to me, it's like, I will not put them in a position where they have to jump through hoops because I made a promise. Now, if I go talk to them and they say we can do it, and I've been saying this over and over, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Well, let me look, okay, great. I'll step back until you tell me you can do it. I'm not gonna go down that road, David, I won't.
Well, and didn't tell you that you had to.
I know, I didn't say that, sir. I'm
Yeah.
just letting you know where I
All
stand.
right. Any more discussion?
Can't have any more discussion other than this.
Yeah. Did we pin down that we're coming in for a work session on
4
Monday at
o'clock.
4?
4 o'clock's fine with me.
Okay, thank you, David.
All right.
We're
So,
good?
I'm good.
All right, sir.
Ready?
Yep,
So I move that we adjourn the meeting.
a second.
I guess that's the only motion we can make.
Tran,
Yes.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Sorry I brought it up.
It's your fault,
Yeah,
Mr.
shame on you,
White.
Michael.
It's all your fault.
Chances of maturity.